The battle for the future of U.S. deep-sea oil drilling played out in the center of New Orleans on Monday. This stopped the leak protest outside the BP and Coast Guard Unified Command Center, while down the street a federal judge heard arguments for and against the Obama administration's 6-month moratorium on deep-water oil drilling.
I'm happy that the judge heard our case and expedited this case. He realizes how important this is for Louisiana, and we really want to thank him for hearing our case today. And we'll see, when he makes his judgment either tomorrow or the next day.
The case highlights the duality of Louisiana's predicament. While enraged at BP's response to the oil spill, state officials also worry that if the suspension isn't lifted, thousands of oil and oil-related jobs could be lost.
Certainly, as folks are impacted by this decision, they will be forced to make payroll cuts, and that certainly will have a cascading impact on the economy.
The fear is the moratorium will drive oil companies away from Louisiana's shores.
The moratorium could have even a greater economic impact, not just on some of the fishing industry people who work part-time in the oil industry, but in every aspect of our economy here in Louisiana.
The White House on Monday called the pause sensible, and outside the court, groups supporting the government stance drove that message home.
This is a system that we know has had major regulatory failures. There are new risks that we know about now that we didn't know about before the Deepwater Horizon spill, and we think in that circumstance a 6-month moratorium is appropriate.
Lawyers from Florida were also in court to hear Monday's arguments, saying afterwards the state's decision to reject oil drilling many years ago has now been vindicated, even though Florida is suffering from the BP spill too.
This oil spill has probably given other Gulf states much more of a forum and a power to be able to comment on what is happening in the rest of the Gulf of Mexico, because we have really been isolated. You're the crazy people over there in Florida who don't want to make all this money off of oil. And all of a sudden we have been justified in some ways that there were a lot of risks.
Stop the oil now!
Back at the Unified Command Center, the anti-BP protest is in full voice.
The judge in the case has promised a ruling by lunchtime Louisiana time on Wednesday and says it may come as early as sometime on Tuesday. Then the people of this state will know what their deep-sea oil drilling future really holds. Terrett, Al Jazeera, New Orleans.